It's August 13th, JLD here, and welcome to MSTR today. In this show, we have a lot to talk about. Nothing is financial advice in this video. Please do hit that like button to support the channel, and let's dive on in. So before we do dive right on in, I do want to just make a comment that I read all of your comments from yesterday's video about my proposal of adding in MetaPlanet as a occasional / secondary focus of the channel. And what really came back as the consensus is that people like the idea of hearing about other treasury companies, but not to just limit it to MetaPlanet. So for the foreseeable future, we are going to have MSTR and the Treasury Titans. That's going to be the focus, where, of course, MSTR is the very major focus on this channel. And then I'm going to highlight a treasury company that is doing something really cool on any given day. And if there doesn't happen to be anything that I come across that I like on any given day, then I'm not going to highlight a treasury company. But if there is, then I will. So MSTR and the Treasury Titans. Let's go. Knowing that MSTR, Michael Saylor, and Strategy are the value play, is the blue chip here. It's going to be interesting to see what other companies are doing, because they're all buying Bitcoin and all ships rise in a high tide and we all win together. So that being said, Michael Saylor says, stand with me on the barricade. And if there's anybody that I want to be on a barricade with, I can tell you it is Michael Saylor. So let's go. Now, that being said, I'm going to call a spade a spade. Nobody's going to be excited or happy with the price action of today. I mean, being down 2.5% when Bitcoin is well over 120,000, that's not what people want to see. I get it. And if you're going to mark MSTR's performance day to day instead of month to month, potentially year to year, then you're going to have frustrating days like this. There are going to be days when the MNAV compresses downward because the market decides it should. Then there are going to be days when the MNAV flies to 3 to 3.5 to 4 and beyond. And that's because the market's going to decide to do that. So whenever everybody's like, why is MSTR down when Bitcoin is up and it's near all-time highs? It's because the market decides. Michael Saylor doesn't decide. You don't decide. I don't decide. The entire market decides. And right now, the market is deciding that Bitcoin treasury companies' MNAV is going to compress across the line. And that's just happening right now. It's happening with MetaPlanet. It's happening with other Bitcoin treasury companies. And we'll see where that goes. But right now, you're going to have days like this where the market's doing pretty good as far as Bitcoin, but MSTR is not doing fantastic. So where are we going to go from here? Only time and patience will tell. Let's move on over to this, where I'm going to zoom in here, where Michael Saylor says, MSTR trades at a premium to Bitcoin NAV due to credit amplification and options advantage, passive flows, and superior institutional access that equity and credit instruments provide compared to commodities. This is a very timely post by Michael Saylor, because if you don't understand why MSTR trades at a premium to Bitcoin NAV, then you really don't understand why you're investing into MSTR truly. Because right here in this orange box is the reason why Strategy trades at a 2 to 4x amplification of to Bitcoin through intelligent leverage. It has the option advantage of $100 billion plus in open interest. The passive flows from the NASDAQ 100, MSCI, Russell 1000 inclusion today, potentially of the S&P 500 in the future, time will tell. And then institutional access. And this is what MSTR is just now unlocking with Strike, Stride, and Stretch. It's absolutely incredible. What do spot Bitcoins have? No credit amplification, $30 billion in open interest, so 1/3, no passive inflows, and $700 billion in private capital, which is nothing compared to what $95 trillion in equity and credit is that MSTR has access to. And of course, Bitcoin, you're seeing right here, all of that jazz. So this is why Strategy commands a premium. If you understand this, you love the fact that you've invested in Strategy and MSTR because you understand what's happening. If you don't understand this, then you're going to complain about daily price action. Which camp are you in? Ben Workman says just a few stats for today. The total Pubco Bitcoin holdings is 951,875. Strategy holds 628,000 of that, which is 66% in total. The top five public companies holdings 772,000, which is 81% total. And the top 10 public company holdings is 841,460, which is 88% total. So just the top 10 companies account for over 88% of total Bitcoin holdings. And of course, MSTR alone is 66%, which is just insane. The behemoth in the room. Michael Saylor's strategy has bought more Bitcoin than other public companies combined. I mean, just look at this orange circle. These are other public companies. They don't even hold a candle. Michael Saylor says Bitcoin will become the world's largest asset within the next 48 months. He knows something. He knows this is about to happen. The next 48 months are going to be amazing. Chris says, how do you feel defending MSTR when you've spent 1,000 plus hours studying the thesis? And this is how I feel. In my comment section, there are going to be people saying that MSTR is trash. There's going to be people that are commenting on the X post. There's going to be people that are overall just saying how trash MSTR is and strategy is. And this is how I feel. I literally feel like this because I know the future based off of this prior post right here that we just talked about. I know where strategy is, what their ideas are, and what their future is going to be. And I love being a part of it because I get it, I understand it, and I believe in it. That is my thoughts. Those are my opinions. Only time will tell what the future will hold. But this is how I feel. And that's my story. Adam says, assuming strategy buys zero to Bitcoin over the next decade, yeah, we're going higher. And again, this is the market cap outcomes at different Bitcoin CAGR rates with MNAV multiples. Just absolutely insane when you understand what this chart is. I mean, 35%, what's happening here at different MNAVs, absolutely insane. We are going higher. Strategy wants us to know that digital risk is better than traditional risk. And that's why you have Strife, Stretch, Strike, and Stride. These are 10% dividends with an 8.2% Bitcoin rating, 9% dividend with 6.3, 8% dividend with 5.7, and 10% dividend with 5.2. And actually Stride right now is close to a 12% dividends. Absolutely insane. Chris says Bitcoin treasury companies are capturing and converting literally tens of billions of dollars and soon to be hundreds of billions of dollars and eventually trillions of dollars of capital into Bitcoin that otherwise would not flow into the asset. Hyper Bitcoinization is happening right before your eyes. Are you prepared? Are your bags packed? Larry Fink says, my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. Larry Fink, sign of intelligence, is changing your mind when presented with facts. Now we're going to go to a quick little MetaPlanet update. Dylan posted the release of the Q2 earnings. They announced that MetaPlanet prefs to scale Bitcoin treasury operations, which to me is going to be huge in Japan. Announces intent to build Bitcoin-backed yield curve in Japanese fixed income capital markets. And there's a full 84-page presentation, which is attached below, which I will link up in the show notes. But listen, all I can say is incredibly impressive presentation. Simon says, this is the strongest quarter in MetaPlanet's history. They had revenue was up 41%, gross profit was up 38%, ordinary profit was 6.9 billion, and the net income was just insane, 11.1 billion versus the 5 billion. Absolutely insane numbers. Congratulations, MetaPlanet. I love what you're doing. You are so dedicated. You're so focused. You are on the path. So, here's to coming in second place. I know that's your goal. So if you can come in second place to MSTR, you will win at a magnitude that is huge. And I got a couple video clips of Michael Saylor. So let's sit back and enjoy. PayPal just made it official. They're letting U.S. merchants accept Bitcoin. That's not just a news story. It's a sign of where things are going, and it raises a critical question. If the world is shifting toward Bitcoin, are you doing enough to participate? Because here's a powerful way to go further. Convert an old 401k or IRA into a crypto IRA with the help of BitIRA. Bit IRA will help you convert it free of taxes or penalties. And here's why you'll love them: end-to-end insurance, highly secure storage, multi-encryption, and registered with the US government. And it's fully IRS compliant. Best of all, you can trade crypto within your retirement account without taxes incurred on any buys or sells. If you already put money into an IRA or employer sponsor 401k on a regular basis, why not invest into a Bitcoin IRA each month? Just go to bitira.com/JLD and request a free info guide. Once you do that and open your IRA, you'll get a free ledger. Again, that's bitira.com/JLD to open a tax sheltered IRA in Bitcoin.
So this is not unique to Bitcoin. First of all, the idea of a multiple to net asset value. And so people call it alchemy. I call it valuation. There's a time when the traditional models don't work, and you have to come up with a different way to value a company. Our belief is a good way to value the company is take the Bitcoin yield and then take the Bitcoin gain, which is a function of Bitcoin yield. It's a dollar gain, and take a multiple on that. We've projected, right, that this year our Bitcoin dollar gain is going to be in the $25 billion range. And if we do that and you take a typical EBITDA multiple or an earnings multiple and you say, what's the company worth if they had produced $25 billion in Bitcoin dollar gain? Perhaps you'll put a 20x multiple on that. But what if that number is growing 50% a year? Should you put a 30x multiple on it, a 40x multiple? It's not unreasonable. And you would value strategy then somewhere between $500 billion and $1 trillion. And then you can go back and say, well, that versus our net asset value of 60, right? Maybe we should be at 10x NAV or 20x NAV. It's not alchemy. This has been happening since the beginning of corporate finance and equity valuations. There's got to be a different way of looking at the enterprise value of a company than just looking at a straight, what is the asset value that it's worth?
I think that Bitcoin will outperform the S&P index. And I think it's very simple as to why it will outperform the S&P index. It doesn't have the counterparty risk of corporate structures, and it doesn't have currency exposure. The S&P is saddled with a huge amount of corporate risk factors, dozens and dozens of them: tariff, supply chain, etc. It's got legal risk, it's got political risk, it's got physical risk. I have warehouses, I have nexus, I have an operation in Ukraine, I have natural gas facilities in Iran, right? There are a lot of things in the real world that constitute risks in the S&P. If I strip away the physical risk, and if I strip away the political risk, and if I strip away the management risk, and then every company takes in cash flows and pesos and naira and euros and CNY and rubles and dollars and Canadian currency and AUD and whatever. So when you strip away all of those risk factors and keep the pure capital, you've got Bitcoin. So whatever those things are, Bitcoin will be more than that. How much more? Or like what is the cost of that? 6 to 8% a year. So if you're targeting the S&P at 12, you target Bitcoin at 18 to 20. Why will it be 18 to 20? I stripped away the risk factors. I also stripped away the constraints. If I had pure capital and I could have unlimited leverage, unlimited utility anywhere in the world, 24/7, 365, there are no holidays for Bitcoin.
What's the second best? There is no second best.